there, beautiful Ascension pioneers. I know I said I won't be doing a video for a while now, but who am I kidding? I'm just so addicted. I just can't live without Ascension pioneers anymore, and just things happen, and you just feel guided to talk about it, and the spirit nudges you and says, you know what, just talk about these things. And yeah, I'm still in a break. That means I'm not replying to just everyone so fast that wants to write to me, wants to make contact, which is so many people lately, and I love each and every one of you, but please know that if I don't reply right away, means I also need time for myself. Okay, the thing I want to talk about today is, you know, when I observe these energies that are really speeding up, and I was talking to a beautiful brother of light yesterday. We had agreed to have a co-creation. This is going to be this Saturday. I'm going to be on another radio show. It's Light Transmissions Radio, and I already posted about this on my Facebook page. And I'm going to be a beautiful co-creator there in the space of oneness. And we discussed this. And he also said that he has a feeling that the last few days things have really strengthened, have really increased in energy. And this is what I'm noticing as well. That's why probably so many people come to write and come to for assistance nowadays, because it's just so intense, and it's just gonna, like I say, it's gonna keep getting more intense. So what happened is yesterday I was again talking to my mom, and I said, do you know what I feel? I feel it's like the same way when someone who's drunk, you know, either when you get drunk, when you drink alcohol, if you're depressed prior to starting to, you know, do some drinking, you'll be even more depressed. And if you'll be happy, you'll be even more joyful, you know, when you drink. So what's happening with these energies, you know, the people who have such immense amounts of shadow work still lurking there and not really being dealt with, is being triggered. So at the same time, so much ego is resurfacing, and within especially certain individuals who were in the illusion, who are in the space of telling themselves certain things, but not really wanting to look deep enough to face their shadow. These are usually the individuals who will wish to take your power away from you, who are empowered, but it's nothing that has to do with anything personal. It just means that they lack higher understanding and they've forgotten who they truly were as divine love. And it's nothing personal again. Know that, please know that. And it's usually those people who will be really triggered within the mirrors of pure love. So at the same time, when this is happening with the people who are already residing in their hearts, this is also intensifying. So that is why I want to make this video, to speak about your inner power and how I really wish for everyone not to lose their power and not to fear their power, even though others might fear it. What happened with me is, before going to bed yesterday, it was nothing personal, it was nothing about me, but when I lied down, I could just feel that deep love. And from the level of creation, from the level of understanding things on a higher perspective, I just started crying for all the souls who still cannot just be that love, who still don't know what's love, who still don't know what unconditionality means, who still act from the ego, who still blame others, who still judge and think this is discernment, and it's not. And it was so, this feeling was building up inside me so strongly. It's like I cried so intensely for all the souls we just cannot yet see. The divinity is all, the grace of God, Goddess, is everything. And how to really walk this in your daily life. And I was just feeling that grief for each and every soul that keeps winding up in circles and keeps entangling itself in the ego. And it was so sad for me, you know, especially when people see this word ego as something so bad. If I would say, for instance, to someone, you know, this is coming from your ego self, if someone would tell that to me, I would be happy, because that would mean, okay, maybe we're going to start thinking in that direction. Because once you start asking yourselves questions, if this, what you feel or say or do is coming from the ego, then answers come. And whenever I am going through my own internal processes, I always ask myself questions, because the truth eventually shows itself. The truth always reveals everything. So yesterday I had this experience with a certain person in my physical life that I mentioned in one of my previous videos, and I said that they didn't really act from the highest integrity. And I had a feeling for a while now, and I'm getting all this confirmed through my inner knowing. The more I go into my heart, the more everything is confirmed exactly as I felt it. And I felt for a while that our paths are going to like separate, but maybe I wasn't brave enough before for that to, you know, really feel these things. And because I always act out of love, I never judge anyone. I never think others should be like me, that they should possess the same level of truth and understanding. I love them unconditionally. But when something will attack me via their own ego and their own violent expressions, either through words or any other means and any other energetic work that they project through them, it's just, I will have to naturally become empowered being and not defend myself, but hold my ground. These are the healthy boundaries. So when there's love, when you really act from love, you will never judge others or judge their actions. You will not even feel the need to speak about others' actions and reactions, because from a higher level, you don't know what they've chosen and you don't understand the whole picture. So when people do that to me and they judge certain events in my life, and just, I think to myself, how could they really believe that this is coming from their soul and their resonance within love? Because truly, you don't see the higher perspective. You're not there. You don't see the whole picture. And you're not as evolved to see the whole picture. No one is, you know? So the thing is, love is all-inclusive and embraces everything and doesn't feel the need to judge or to say, you know, I get triggered by this. So especially people who like to use the words, I'm repelled by this and that, because that means when you're literally repelled by something means there's something there for you to see, that there's certain shadow work needed to be done there. So when people think that they're repelled by someone, they think that's actually about the other person. It's never about the other person. And for me, it's most fascinating to see that these are usually the individuals who are very much into spirituality, but people who want to know everything on the spirituality, but aside from their own self. They will do all the work, all the external work, aside from really what matters is their own work, their own integration, their own feeling of love. Because I know a lot of people who are more selfish than selfless, and we're not really, because when you're in pure love vibration, you just want to give and serve. And even though there are people who are not like me, I still embrace them. But when I was attacked by these people, for instance, I felt that they just cannot hold my energy and that I'm just too strong mirror for them. Because whatever, remember this, there's this one principle, energetic principle that is always true, is when someone will define you through certain words and will write to you what they don't resonate with about you and what they don't like about you and give you examples even and try to exemplify themselves, that's not coming from the higher self, because love just is and embraces all and sees everything perfected as it is, in that state of evolution as it is. The energy of the ego, of the lower self, of comparison, of thinking that one is right, so choosing right instead of choosing kind, is coming from the lowest. So the thing is, after that experience, I just was really having my intuition confirm that this path is kind of like becoming separated with a certain individual. And I really felt guided to also, although I didn't say it, also I said that I will make a video. I feel really guided to do it and to say a few things about this. And today I was urged to write about inner power, because I feel so many people are so powerful and beautiful, but you know, power that comes from the heart, that true power that comes from the heart and vulnerability and the ability to just give and serve and to give your best, that is love. That is the grace of God, Goddess. And I was guided to write about inner power, and so many people love that post. I'm just really happy. And for all those of you who did not follow it or saw it, I'm going to read it to you now, because it's really important to understand the dynamics of how inner power and the inner light of Source works. Dear family of light, do not fear your own power, even when others do. When we fly high, there might always be someone who might not like it, especially those who have not yet spread their own wings. Sometimes people who are still choosing to reside in the lower vibration will try to bring you down through their lower self, but they cannot do that if you don't let them. Know that each time you allow them to do this, you're giving them your inner power. When you truly reside in your heart, you can only feel compassion for them as you reside within the higher truth. The higher truth is always love divine, and when you stay in this space, you're always in your empowerment. So that is also where the difference from judging and discernment comes from. Discernment is a knowing based on a soul level, and it's non-judgmental. You just see things from a higher perspective, and you know and you feel. Like, for instance, you feel a certain individual when they're not coming from integrity, but there won't be any ego telling them that and, you know, pointing fingers at them. You'll hold the space for that truth when it's time for them to realize that they will on their own time. Their ego might react differently if they're still not within the love, and they might point fingers at you, and they might say what's all that is wrong with you and why they don't resonate with you, and everything's wrong with you, because they don't see the love that they are. So therefore they're not living it, and they don't see it in other people. They cannot, although they might think they do. If they act that way, if their actions are not aligned with her highest love, they are not living it. This is the other part I wrote. There's also the principle, this is really important, of the difference in vibration. When you reach a certain vibration of love within your neutrality, which is the space of divine love and unconditionality, you will become a perfect mirror for everyone and everything. You will be able to trigger everything that resides in others, from the purest to the lowest. And this naturally means that not everyone will enjoy looking at themselves in your pure mirror. On the other hand, those who reside within love will love it, for they will see their own divine beauty mirrored in you. And that is what happens so often, you know. I see that although sometimes I feel feelings of disappointment for the souls who just keep cycling in the same cycles of ego and don't see the love of service for all, I always get pleasantly surprised when I receive certain email from someone, and I'll read that to you later, and one of my emails, so you can see how my fan emails kind of look like. And it was a really beautiful email, and that kind of thing for me is the biggest gift. When I see the other side of the equation, not just those who keep recycling in the old and the ego and the fear and the judgment and pointing fingers and opinions and thinking they're right instead of choosing to be kind. That's the space of love. I also see the other point of equation, which is the balancing out act. And I see that there's also people who just have discovered their inner gifts and their inner power and are not afraid to live it. Okay, this is the third part that I wrote. Also, when you reach a certain climax point within the difference and vibration between you and another, like when it starts to increase to a certain degree, that is, you know, kind of highly differential. I don't know how to verbalize this, but the difference is very huge. You can no longer co-create with this individual, and your paths will eventually separate, you know, if they don't follow also that heart opening. This is the most basic principle of how energy works, as we can also become energetically invisible for those who cannot hold our level of vibration. This energetic invisibility is what eventually leads towards the physical invisibility as well. So when there's a certain range within the frequency difference that is beyond, we basically become invisible for some other people, and that probably will start happening during the next few decades on the earth. Who knows? Note that the path of ascension is the path of you, me, the whole and authentic you, when you're fully and completely merged with your soul through your I am presence. So once you decide for yourself, with a capital S, and the divine love that you are, everything aligns with your purpose and your true divine path. It is never about others, it is always about you. And that is right, my fellow Ascension pioneers, it is always about us. And we should not fear our power, and our power lies in our vulnerability. For instance, when I experience things like this, and I see people who had the ability to really awaken to the deeper love, even when they were exposed to my presence and they did not, sometimes I feel sad for them, not kind of pity sad, just compassionate kind of sad. And I cry for all, like I said, sometimes for all those souls, and I just feel so sad because the divine grace is such beauty. And for me, sometimes it's kind of hard to understand. And of course, you can never understand the level of someone else, the level where they're coming from, and how they have separated themselves for eons and eons of time, and how they like to believe certain illusions about who they are on the other levels and dimensions, and associate with themselves with all sorts of labels, and give themselves labels such as, give themselves all sorts of labels, but it doesn't matter if they don't live that love, if they don't have that higher love. No label counts, no word counts. It's our embodiment of that love that counts, and how we treat one another. So when you're treated by someone through ego, and I received this question yesterday from another viewer asking me, how do you react to those people who are mean or like that to you, and that they eventually are not bothered by it anymore, but they want to know how to react more to that. It's like, I say, don't choose to react. Let them, you know, everyone in your external reality is your extension, either showing you what you still have within you, or what still needs to be more empowered within you. For instance, if there's people who's teasing you or mean to you, or, you know, act out of ego instead of love, that means you need to strengthen something within you to be even more empowered when it comes to such circumstances. They are your teachers because they're helping you how to be more neutral within that and how to increase their love. And even though they fall even deeper into the shackles of ego, you do not. You don't have to. You're not like that. You are the love. You are the pioneer. So you don't ever have to stoop to their level. And there's another thing here. What I experienced yesterday with this person was when they wrote to me, they were self-explaining themselves. And when someone gives you reasoning and self-explanation and they try to explain themselves, that is always coming from the ego, because love does not need to explain itself. Love just is. And when you know the truth speaks on itself. So people who will write you or have so much to say to you in length and try to kind of like speak for themselves in terms of trying to protect yourself through that, they're basically, what they're really doing is acting out of ego to give themselves validation. Because when you're coming from love, you don't need such things. You don't need to prove yourself, to give yourself validation, to speak for yourself in such terms. You just are, because you know the truth and you know the love. And whenever you notice this in a certain individual, know that they just lack love and lack understanding of who they truly are and lack the embodiment of that. So be compassionate towards them, okay? And towards the end, I would like to read you this beautiful letter from a viewer that I received today, which is such a gift from all of you. Thank you for sharing your connections with me and your experiences and what you're going through in your own awakening process and your own empowerment, because this is what it's about. It's about us. And ascension, meaning our living our wholeness, living our full soul potential by fusing with our soul. So this beautiful lady wrote to me about the video that she wrote, and she said, it gives me comfort to think. She said, I just viewed your most recent video, and I too am one of those that many times think, how can she know to be speaking to exactly what is on my mind? Like always, right? The universal consciousness of all. It gives me comfort to think of the universal thread that links us all with love and knowledge. You are doing phenomenal work addressing this love. Things you say help greatly. This year my energy has soared open and amazing, curious things are happening. I'm led in ways towards higher vibration, and it does my heart good to hear you confirm this knowing and to so comfortably acknowledge the energy shifts when messages are being sent. As I continue on my path, the most wonderful people in science, books, and so on appear, helping guide and validate and offer their love. So much is brand new to me, and yet I know what resonates and feels deeply true. Thank you so much for your unknowing part in my own development. You are appreciated and loved for. Be well, beautiful sister. And beautiful sister you are as well, and beautiful brothers and sisters you all are. And like I said, when I received a message like this, it gives me beautiful hope and inspiration that there is the other side of the equation. There is the great unbalancing, the outbalancing of the polarities happening. And we are living two paths right now, I feel. We're so much stepping into the new, while at the same time we're still releasing the old. And a lot of the old people who are not within the fullest of light are falling away from our lives, but we have to be true to ourselves. And remember, when you trust the internal process, when you trust your inner power and what heart is truly saying and yearning for, you'll be given immense opportunities and gifts, because it's kind of like you graduate and you get the gift of the divine for saying, yeah, you've listened to yourself, so you know your source. So when you know your source, you live your source, and that is the basic truth of all. And thumbs up to all of us who are choosing nothing but compassion, forgiveness, higher understanding, and love of the divine that we are. I hope this message resonated with your hearts. And like I said, if you encounter any of such individuals who will poke you, who will trigger you, who will try to reside within the ego, choose to stay love and choose to stay kind always. Much love and blessings, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye.